Hello and welcome to the second episode of Looking Through the Ropes. My name is Corvus Ventura, and today we're going to explore finding a good training school. And I'm not going to get too deep into this because it's a very individual thing based on where you live and what you're looking for, and whether or not you're willing to travel and even relocate where you are. As I've previously mentioned, I started my training at California Championship Wrestling Academy. And once they closed down, I moved over to All Pro Wrestling, the boot camp there. And I was very lucky to be able to do so. Now, what I recommend for everybody who's interested in training is that they Google first the training schools closest to them and looking into their students of the present and past and seeing how far they've gone as an indication of how good the training is there. If you don't recognize any names, then maybe continue looking, as well as what their payment plans are and if it's something that can work for you. The other thing I recommend is to go to local shows and look at wrestlers that you really enjoy their work and talk to them about where they've trained. Most people are going to be really happy to talk to you. You know, we all want the industry to grow, and it's a really good source of information. A lot of promotions have their own training schools, and so what you'll really need to look at is the qualities of the type of wrestling that you want to have and if that's a good school for you. But on this episode, we're going to more focus on two individuals, both trained out of Supreme Pro Wrestling up in Sacramento, California. The first is Drake Frost, who is currently the SPW heavyweight champion, as well as Sir Samurai, who runs the training school. So I'm going to apologize in advance. We were hoping to record these inside the venue, but we're unable to, so we had to find locations outside. So unfortunately, it's a little noisy at times, but I really think that what they had to say was important, and I hope you enjoy it. Thank you so much. Hello and welcome to my first interview with Looking Through the Ropes. My name is Corvus Ventura, and with me today I have the SPW heavyweight champion, Frost. Drake, how you doing?
Good to see you.
Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for being involved. And so mostly what I want to do with this channel is inspire other people to get involved in pro wrestling and show them that it can be done regardless of what your background is and who you are. And personally, your story has always been a great one for me, especially doing shows with you, places that didn't necessarily appreciate you as a singles wrestler, and now here you are, a champion of your home promotion, which I think is awesome.
Thank you.
So first off, what got you hooked into pro wrestling?
I've been a fan of professional wrestling since I was 4. I fell in love with it. I fell in love with Macho Man, his colors, his persona, just his larger than life. Mm-hmm. He projected his voice. His voice was so unique. His mannerisms, his choice of vocabulary, just everything about him was turned up to 10. Mm-hmm. It was entrancing. And then just his athletic background in baseball that led him to being so unique compared to everyone that was around in the 80s when he broke in.
Now, in addition to your size, because you're a lot bigger than most guys, I'm an average sized person who's here. What niche do you think you've really carved out in the NorCal pro wrestling scene?
In NorCal pro wrestling, for myself, I found myself a big fan of Japanese strong style. So lots of hard strikes, lots of test of endurance and resilience, blasting away at my opponents, trying to knock them down before they knock me down.
Mm-hmm. That was actually always one of my favorite things about working with you. I just knew we were going to beat the hell out of each other, and it was going to be a good time. So let's see, who did you train under?
I trained under Big Ugly JD Bishop, El Flaco Loco, Sir Samurai, and Bonsai Bruce. I won't all say the last name. Under SPW in 2005, I was spent probably the year prior looking for schools, and because I wasn't very familiar with independent wrestling in Northern California, all I saw were a lot of options in Southern California. And I was probably about 3 months out from moving down to Southern California in hopes to find a school and pursue wrestling. A friend of mine, that I'm still actually friends with today, brought me to SPW show at the Colonial, and we started going twice a month on Saturdays, every other Saturday when they would run. And by the end of 2004, I decided I was going to join the SPW Academy.
And what stood out most to you about your training? Like, what memories have kind of held on the best?
Doing bear crawls, actually training in the Colonial Theater. It's a very old style theater building. Doing bear crawls up and down the aisleway, doing duck walks through the rows of chairs. Just, I don't know, being in that building that is historic for, you know, Sacramento, and I don't know, just having our own kind of artistic expression there was awesome. I remember, other than that in training, the first time I tried to do a Beal bump like Jeff Hardy, that we were told, do it just like Jeff Hardy, tuck at the last moment, and I gave myself such a bad stunner. I literally flipped about halfway, and then gravity was like, what are you doing? And pulled me right to the mat. I landed on my neck and my head and a little bit on my shoulders, maybe. But I remember sitting the rest of that camp out, and the next day just feeling like I had cement bags dropped on top of me.
Yeah, I think most of us who have trained have been there, and you know, getting dropped on your head sometimes is part of the deal, and you know, that's why we train, folks.
Do the best you can.
Now, training under somebody like Big Ugly obviously influenced your style in the ring, because you guys, like we were talking about earlier, just beat the hell out of people. Who else has really influenced you on your personal in-ring style here in NorCal?
In NorCal, I got to work guys like Oliver John, old school Oliver John. He definitely impartialized to me the methods, or just the particular place and time for this and that. Gave me a stronger sense of psychology. Getting to work guys like Timothy Thatcher, who I started training with. Tim is a technical wizard.
Yes, he is.
And he definitely has helped me sharpen my game. Getting to work guys like Jekyls, Bobby, who are also strong strikers, who emphasize strong style, have definitely got me to be as tough and as resilient as I am now.
Yeah, Bobby Hart is definitely up there with the guys who you'll feel it.
Oh yeah, but it's okay. It'll be safe.
Yes,
you
definitely.
will feel it the day after.
Yes. So what year was your debut match?
September 11th, 2005. I started training in January 10th of 2005, and then 9 months later debuted with.
Okay, so you got through it pretty quick.
Yeah, fortunately for me, I tussled around in backyards or playgrounds, wherever we could find a place to set up a ring. And so that kind of gave me experience. I won't say an edge, but it gave me experience of what wrestling was like. And after about a year and a half of that, I realized I wanted more. I didn't want to just be doing it until we got chased out by security or the cops. I wanted to pursue it to a more fulfilling degree and level.
And if I recall correctly, this is the first time you've held the SPW Heavyweight Champion. Is that
Yes.
correct? So how does it feel to go from where you started with training under Ugly and everybody else to holding your own promotion's main championship?
I think it's a great honor. It's taken me 15 years to get to the point where I'm valued and viewed by my peers as someone who can carry the ball, and I don't take it very lightly at all. It's very, very serious for me, and I want to carry the banner as proudly and as prominently as possible.
Yeah, and you know, on a personal note, I've seen promoters say, you know, you're really, really good, but you know, we want to go this direction with our champion. And then I think I have seen personally promoters get wise and give you that belt later, and I'm really glad to see that you are starting to get that recognition that you deserve. You're a very hard worker.
Thank you.
Which is exactly why I wanted to have you on, because I want to promote the hard work that gets you to where you want to be. It might take a long time, but you know, eventually we can all get there. And so I want to say congratulations on the title, and your defense tonight against Jekyll's the Jester, which will be an amazing match.
Very stiff.
Oh yes, another one of those guys. So, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you guys very much. You guys have a good one. Welcome to Through the Ropes. My name is Corvus Ventura. Here with me is Sir Samurai, Mr. Punishment. And we're going to talk a little bit today about training and the importance of it all and finding a good school. I, like many people, was a backyard wrestler, and one of the guys I was doing that with found California Championship Wrestling, and we went there and we trained there for a year, and then I had my first match. And but I want to talk more about you and your experiences. You've been wrestling for 17 years. You've had over 1,100 matches, which is awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Tell me a little bit about what got you hooked into pro wrestling.
I was a fan, comic book nerd. I really enjoy good versus evil, fundamentally. Like, that's just my form of entertainment. Like the athleticism, larger than life. But yeah, morality play of it all.
And if I remember correctly, you started training to be a ring announcer, correct?
I was a ring announcer. I started as a ring announcer for a couple of companies that no longer exist, that probably shouldn't have existed anyway. Just one of those, I was going to the shows and they said, hey, do you know how to ring announce? And I said, yeah, how hard could it be? So I ring announced, and then subbed for a ring announcer at SPW in 2002 and have been at every show since. And then the ring announcing led me, I was going and watching the training, and then one of the trainers was like, hey, you should try this. I was 28 or 29 at the time, so I thought I was too old. I started training, thinking, oh, if I could just have one match, it'd be fine. And 1,000 matches later.
Yeah. And in the time I've known you, you've always been very goal-oriented. How has that helped you get from starting off as your just wanting your first match to 1,000 matches later?
If I didn't have goals or something I was fighting for, it'd be way too easy to stop doing things. The shooting for 1,000 matches meant I never said no to a booking. For 10, 11, 12, I don't remember how many years it took for 1,000. 14 years, I said yes to every booking anywhere. And most people don't. Most people say it's not worth the money, it's not worth the drive. I don't want to wrestle that guy. I've never heard of that guy. I had goals. And I can't accomplish my goals on my couch or at my day job waiting tables. I have to be at shows to accomplish what I want to accomplish. And I think everyone starts off wanting to wrestle all over the world and wanting to do all this stuff, but as you get older and real life gets in the way, it's really easy to just go, what's the show? Nah, I'm going to skip that one. Nah, I don't want to make the drive for that, or I have something to do the next day. And my goals are what keep me saying yes, when common sense would probably say, you can skip this one.
Yeah. I think common sense is something that you have to look at sideways when you become a professional wrestler. Now, what was training like for you at SPW?
It was hard. Big Ugly, he's old school with his training. I mean, there would be many a day where we never got in the ring, where we would just squats and then run up and down the aisles of the Colonial Theater, or carry each other up the aisles of the Colonial Theater, or cardio drills, or whatever. His logic, and I totally agree with it, was you need to be in good enough shape to where nobody's going to blow you up. Too many wrestlers get in there hoping that their opponent is kind to them and not blow them up. All of us at SPW who came up at the same time, Virgil, Hayashi, Thatcher, Frost, myself, we knew that you could hit hard, but you couldn't blow us up because we had put the time in. And that's very important in wrestling.
How much of that carries over to the SPW Academy?
Very much so. It's harder because we don't have as many hours to train. We're training in Yuba City. Not one of our students lives in Yuba City, so we're all commuting to meet up to train, but they know that you have to be able to get through a match. And anyone can get through an easy match. I've wrestled reporters who've never wrestled before. I've wrestled high school football coaches. I've wrestled children. But to have an actual match, both people need to be able to last however long it needs to take. And being in better cardio shape means if you ring my bell, I'm still able to go. So it's very important that you know what you have in the tank, that you've been pushed, you've been challenged.
And, excuse me, being involved in wrestling for so long, I imagine, and I know I was one of those people who would constantly come to you, can you watch my match? Can you give me some advice? After so many years of wrestling, what does that advice become? What are the big things that you tell people to focus on?
My biggest thing that I tell everyone to remember, from my students to anyone who asks, is know the story you're telling in that match. Story could change next week. You could be a good guy today and a bad guy next week. Next week doesn't matter. The anniversary show doesn't matter. What matters is this match tonight. What is the story you're going after? And if you remember that the story is I'm a fiery young babyface, or I'm a grumpy old heel, or I'm a coward, or whatever, and you stick with that, the moves are secondary, as long as you tell your story. If you just focus on the moves and then you forget what moves you want to use, now there's no story and no moves. I have many matches where I hit 0 moves. The crowd never notices because I tell my story and I stick to who I am and I work well with others. So that's always my key advice: is know what your story is on that given night.
Well, that's true of even our last match. We did very little,
Right.
But by the end of it, people, and they didn't even know it was going to be my last match,
Right.
and they went nuts.
Yeah.
And kendo sticks to the head probably didn't heard
Yeah.
the story, but what other big philosophies do you think are important for wrestlers just starting out?
The big one, and it's cliche, but you need to be humble. I'm 17 years in. There's nobody I would not happily lose to. It amazes me when I hear, bro, I don't want to lose to that person. That person hasn't worked as hard as me. They're not as good looking as me. They haven't done what I've done. It's not the business we're in. You have to stay humble, and you have to remember that you can't make me look bad. Only I can make me look bad. You can destroy me. You can hit every move you know, and you can pin me. That doesn't make me look bad. What I do either makes me look good or bad. And a lot of people don't get that. They're so... I've had people who are going to beat me and I have to get more stuff in this match. And I'm like, your hand's getting raised. And you're beating my butt. What more do you need to get in?
Yeah.
I think that's sort of the lost thing. And then, of course, the number one rule of wrestling, there's a lot of number one rules of wrestling. But in this case is look out for the other person. Every stupid thing I've ever done, and I've done a lot of stupid things, was my idea. I'm the guy, if you and I are going to do a hardcore match and you have ideas for me, I'm going to pitch mine first and you're going to go, well, those are way dumber than mine. Yeah, let's do yours.
Yeah.
That way, my destiny's in my hands. And if it doesn't go the way I envision, it's on me. It's not on you. People shouldn't do stuff they're not comfortable with.
Yep.
And when I say comfortable, I mean legit comfortable. I'm not saying don't do anything that you're nervous about. I'm wearing my underwear and I'm about to walk in front of a crowd. That's nerve-wracking. But everything I'm going to do in the match, I'm comfortable that I can do and do safely and do well.
Yeah, pushing limits is one thing.
Yeah,
but letting the fear take the better of you.
Exactly.
Yeah. What is it that you guarantee your students will walk out with once they're done, quote unquote, done training with you? Like,
they will be able, if they don't give up and they continue to work hard, they will be able to wrestle anyone who's trained to be a pro wrestler. They will have the basic stuff. Now they need to bring their own sense of character into it. I will help them. I will give them advice. But I will give them all the tools necessary to figure out who they are. The best example I have of that is Drake Frost and Timothy Thatcher started on the same day of training. They weren't best friends. They just started on the same day of training. Were trained by the same people and are completely different wrestlers. Because Drake is Drake and Timmy is Timmy. Chupacabra and I trained. He started a month before me. Trained by the same person. We're completely different wrestlers. So we at SPW will give you the fundamentals and the basics. You then need to figure out who you are. And nobody can do that for you. I can give you a gimmick and explain it to you, but if you don't feel it, it's going to be a guy pretending to be a cowboy or something else.
Yeah, which we've seen 100 times.
Exactly.
Well, I got you. Go ahead and plug the anniversary show.
April 19th, Elk Grove, California, Soccer World, Kent Avenue. I can't remember the address right now, but easy to find on Facebook. 20 years of running every single month. We have never taken a month off, and we're looking for our biggest show ever.
And I look forward to being there, and thank you so much for sitting down and talking to me.
No problem.
Here and talking to me. So this is Sir Samurai, Mr. Punishment, and he's going to go wreck himself right now. So thank you. Have a good one.